A mother has been sentenced to prison because of what her son did at school. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Deja Taylor, the mother of a 6-year-old boy who took her gun to school and shot his teacher. Now, fortunately, the teacher did not pass away. She survived, but the shooting happened regardless. Now, she's been sentenced to prison for child neglect and for having a firearm while using drugs, the whole Hunter Biden situation. Now, there's a lot I want to get into. And before I go any further, I'm from this particular part of the country. This is in Virginia, Newport News. I grew up not too far from here. I got family and friends out there, and they tell me that she most certainly deserves to go to prison because there's a lot of history here that you may not know about or hear about when you read the headline about her going to prison for what her boy did at school. Now, before I go any further, let's get into the news clip. If you want to see the clip in full without my commentary, link as always will be in the description. If you're on IG, visit a link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
And breaking tonight, the mother of the Rich Neck Elementary School shooter will spend 2 years in state prison. Today, a judge called Deja Taylor's actions egregious after she was found guilty of felony child neglect.
Emily Harrison was there when the judge handed down the sentence. She is live now. And Emily, this decision goes well beyond the sentencing guidelines.
That's exactly going to be the case. A Newport News judge sentenced Deja Taylor to a total of 5 years, 2 of which she will spend in state prison. And the other 3 years are suspended at this time. The judge told the courtroom he could not follow the sentencing guidelines of 0 to 6 months because, quote, these guidelines do not take all the facts and history of this case into account.
There's quite a bit of history here. We're going to get through it. If they don't talk about all the history in this clip, I know the history. I'm going to get into it. So let's keep on going.
Deja Taylor stood stone still as the judge handed down the sentence. The judge said he could not follow the sentencing guidelines of 0 to 6 months because, quote, this is significantly more serious than lying on a form. Child neglect is the most serious crime, the most serious charge. Taylor's attorney, James Ellenson, says he is disappointed with the decision.
We think it was excessive. I think there are guidelines for a reason. And I think the guidelines were adequate in this case, and I just respectfully disagree with Judge Papille.
Right now, Taylor is serving 21 months for 2 federal charges because she lied on her gun registration. And
this is the Hunter Biden situation. So for anyone who may be conservative or whatever that says lock Hunter Biden up for the gun charge, remember what he did was lie on the background check. Okay, he's a crack smoker, lied on the background check, said he didn't smoke crack and got his gun. And he had the gun while still being a crack smoker. That's what he is facing federal prison time for. So that charge right there, she also has. They got the same charge. So if she's going to prison or jail, whatever, then so should he. Point blank, period. It doesn't matter. She had weed. He had crack. It doesn't matter what you think about the drugs. The law is the law. If we're going to follow it, let's follow it. If we're not going to follow it, then let's not follow it. But I digress.
Will now serve this 2-year prison sentence consecutively to it. When handing down the sentence, the judge also questioned Taylor's remorse.
So again, the consecutive, she has the 2 charges she got convicted of: the lying on the background check, smoking weed, having the pistol, and then also the child neglect. They will be served consecutively at the same time. She's not going to have the 2 years and then 2 more years. She'll serve both terms at the same time.
Pointed to public statements Taylor has made about her son's frustration with his teacher, Abby's Warner, and Taylor's, quote, misleading statements about where she kept the gun in her home. Ellenson says an appeal is possible, as he says Taylor's statements should not have been a factor.
There's a couple of things from a legal perspective. I don't know that he could even take that into account because that was not evidence that was presented in court today. So I think the judge is looking outside of what evidence had been introduced in court.
Teacher Abby's Warner did not have a comment walking out of Newport News Circuit Court following the sentencing, but she read a victim impact statement on the stand. She told the judge, quote, this never would have happened to me if not for the defendant's actions or lack thereof.
Yep.
Now, while Taylor is going to be serving her time in prison, there is still a protective order between her and her son. She is still able to have supervised visits with her son, but she cannot have any criminal or offensive behavior in front of him. And it is entirely up to the discretion of the child's guardian, which is going to be Calvin Taylor, who is Deja Taylor's grandfather. In Newport News, I'm Emily Harrison, 13 News Now.
Okay, Emily, thanks. And following Taylor's release from prison, she will have 2 years probation. She'll be required to undergo a psychological evaluation, counseling to overcome drug addiction, and she'll have to take parenting classes.
So there we have it. That's what's going on. Now, they did not get into the history, okay? And I figured they wouldn't in that video. Now, let's read this right here. Shout out to Colin Rugg for this great summary. And again, I'm from the area. I'm from Virginia. This is my neck of the woods. I know Newport News very well. I know that particular part of the city very well. You know, I saw some familiar faces in that clip just now, so I know this area pretty well. Let's look at this right here. Justin, the mom of the 6-year-old boy. And people are saying, well, hey, ABL, she shouldn't have got locked up. Her son did it. What about these white school shooters that go do things? First of all, each case is different. We're talking about sometimes adults over the age of 18. We're talking about people that were able to get their guns without having their parents be involved. You see, in this case, the boy got the gun from the mother, and the mom was irresponsible with her gun. She kept it in the place to where he was able to have access to it. How can the 6-year-old have access to your pistol, to your weapon, if you don't allow him to have access to it? You're talking about a 13 to 14-year-old. That's a little bit different. Okay. Again, each case is different. In this case, she most certainly deserves to go to the penitentiary, Big Rocks, Little Rocks. But anyway, the mom on a 6-year-old boy who brought a gun to school and shot his teacher has been sentenced to prison. Deja Taylor's son took her gun to school and shot his teacher, Abigail Warner, back in January. She's lucky to survive. After the shooting, the boy bragged to a school employee that he, quote, shot that be dead. Where do you get that kind of language? Where do you get that kind of mentality at 6 years old? Come on. Anyway, last month, Taylor was sentenced to 21 months in prison for using marijuana while owning a firearm. Again, you could say weed's not really a drug. You could say that it shouldn't be illegal, but it is illegal. Hunter Biden should go to prison for the same thing. He was on videotape smoking crack with the gun. So if she is going to prison, then so should he. If she doesn't go to prison, then neither should he. Rules for thee, not for me. No, no, no. Rules for thee, rules for me. The same across the board. Anyway, she has now been sentenced to 2 years in prison for child neglect. The weapon that the boy used, and here's where we get to the history, in the classroom was reportedly used in another shooting just weeks before the teacher was shot. According to text messages, Taylor had shot at the boy's father after seeing him with a girlfriend. Not once, but twice, someone nearly lost their lives because of Taylor's offenses of conviction. Prosecutors previously said the video below was taken shortly after, so that's that. That's her leaving the room or whatever after the sentencing. Okay, so you're smoking weed with the gun. You probably got weed in the house around this 6-year-old boy. You probably lied on the background check. You got criminal allegations of shooting at the baby daddy, all kind of. You got this crazy, ridiculous household. The best place for this boy is probably with the granddad. That's probably what's going on. Okay, I believe, as I close, the mother's actions led this boy down this road. You know what happens a lot of times in these single mother-led households is, and especially in the community, in the black community, these boys become monsters, total monsters. The guys you see that have no problem just deleting you for no reason, they come up just like this. Where do you think that kind of mentality comes from? When you see at 4, 5, 6 years old, your mom shoot at your dad for being seen with another woman, what does that do to you at 6 years old? So, of course, if you're able to get the weapon and you go to school, you are going to try to settle some kind of dispute by doing what you saw your mom do or what you heard that your mom did. I'm sure that the shooting happened right in front of him. I'm sure. So, of course, you see something like that, you're going to do the same thing. and you're going to have the same kind of indifferent attitude toward it, which is probably what his mother did. So yeah, she needs to go to the penitentiary, Big Rocks, Little Rocks. If not for her actions, this wouldn't have happened. If not for her being irresponsible with her gun ownership, this wouldn't have happened. Simple as that. And I hope this boy is able to get beyond what he did and didn't become a monster in the future. Hopefully the pop can just raise him right, because I mean, really, from what I've seen so far, most people would say he's doomed. It would say it's pretty much at 6 years old, your life is already over. Imagine that. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on what happened here? Do you think that it was appropriate to give the mother prison time because of what her 6-year-old boy did in school with her weapon? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. This is 100% deserved. 100%. The judge did right, because if not for this mother's ridiculous, egregious behavior, this whole thing wouldn't have happened. The teacher wouldn't have been shot. The boy wouldn't have to do something like that. Come on, man. Like, I have no words, really. I have no more words. This is the appropriate action. And I just feel for the teacher, of course, who got shot in school. I feel for her. Thank God she didn't pass away. I feel for her. But I also feel for the boy. At that age, whatever you're doing is a result of your parenting or lack thereof. Now, once you get to be an adult or whatever, that's something different. But at that age, I mean, come on, man. You're just learning how to read, write, all of that kind of stuff. You're taking the gun and shooting people with it. We know where that comes from. Let's just be 100% honest here. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.